Have you ever felt like if you slow down, like everything's just going to fall apart?
Every day.
Every day.
Like the second you sit down, your brain just starts listing all the things that you should be doing.
Right. Or all the things you didn't do that you need to do. It's a whole thing. Yep. And even when your body is screaming for rest and you're feeling so exhausted, you just feel like you have to push through it anyway.
Well, part of that's because somewhere along the way, we for sure, but probably women in general, but we started believing that being needed meant we have to be on all the time.
Yeah. And like we're responsible for everything. Mm-hmm. Today we're talking about something we don't give ourselves enough of. Permission to rest. See, that was good. We can hit that one together because we both need that.
We need it. Yeah.
It's a beautiful chaos, this roller coaster ride. The ups, the downs are spinning all around inside. It's a beautiful chaos. Sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Have to pause, renegotiate, but with gratitude I appreciate this beautiful chaos.
Welcome to Beautiful Chaos. I'm Staci Miller.
And I'm Tammy Ramsey.
And today we're talking about a very important subject, especially when it comes to us. So we're going to feel pretty guilty this entire podcast, but also just an important thing that comes when you are a woman, when you are busy, when you are a parent, a wife, any of those things. And that is giving yourself permission to rest. And I think it's important that we talk about it as permission because we don't allow ourselves to rest normally the way, and when I say we, I'm going to be consistently referring to us.
Yes.
Maybe it's going to hit for you guys, maybe it doesn't. So if this doesn't exactly apply to you, find your path through this podcast. But for us, for sure, it would take permission. It does take permission daily, regularly, anytime. And we need to give ourselves permission to rest.
It's really hard to do that and not be guilty. So that's what we're going to talk about this whole time. And kind of what started this is going to be so authentic.
Yeah.
Because well, you as well, we're both just always so busy. And we both are like juggling multiple things, community things. You've got a wedding. I had grandkids. We've got this podcast. Like there's all these balls up in the air that we just feel like we're constantly juggling. And I hit my exhaustion on Saturday, my drop dead, because I didn't rest. I didn't do those things. And it was beautiful chaos of life. All the grandkids for 2 spring breaks that I wish Boise and Pocatello would fall on the same spring break because that would make life easier.
Yeah, I bet.
But it doesn't. So when I got overwhelmed, all I could think about was I just need to go home and take a shower. And then I like to write poetry. That's kind of like this creative outlet. So I'm going to share this poem with you, and you can also find it on Beautiful Chaos on Facebook. But I think this kind of tells it like it is for all stages of life. You can hopefully, relate to it. It's called Just a Moment to Rest. I wish I could just say no. Take a breath, move slow. Slow my life, slow the time. Wouldn't that feel divine? I try so hard to please, to give, to show up with ease, to never let anyone down, afraid they might look and frown. Oh, all I need is a shower, maybe a 20-minute nap to fill back with power and not feel like such a sap. I love my grandkids oh so much. I love my kids, their every touch. I love to laugh and play all day and the work I do along the way. But some days whisper something true. I need a little time for you. A pause, a breath, a quiet space. A moment life won't try to chase. Just time to rest, to simply be. To not hold up the world for me. To set it down, if just for a while, and come back stronger with a smile. Can you relate to
all of that?
Right?
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, you know, when you're emotional about things,
Yeah.
there's some beautiful things that come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this for sure, I feel like is one of those, because women are caregivers naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with, let alone your people pleasers like us. We're people pleasers, but just being a caregiver as a whole.
I think they do go hand in hand, though, because you do feel like caregiving is constantly trying to please the other person. You want to feed them the best meal, and you want to, you know, prepare the best adventure, keep the house clean, and you, at least for me, I feel like my people pleasing and my caregiving go hand in hand. But also when you get into like your love languages, one of mine to receive is always words of affirmation, because I think that the reason those all tie together is all I want. I want, when I give you the meal that I feed you, just to say it's a good meal. Like, I like this food. I like what you made. I don't need any other kind of credit anywhere else. Like, it's great if you make a meal for somebody and they do the dishes, but at the end of the day, I don't care if I have to do the dishes and make the meal. Just want to be told, like, that was really good. Or, wow, the house looks really clean. Or, wow, thanks for showing up. Or, it's definitely a words of affirmation thing. And I think that comes with people pleasing and caregiving, and it all just intertwines. And somewhere in there, we have to remember to take care of ourselves.
We do, because we give ourselves this invisible mental load all the time, because that's our choice. That's our inner talk. That's, like you said, our part of our love language, probably. Right. Our identities are tied to being dependable. So we feel like if we're not providing whoever we're responsible for at that time, then we're failing
somewhere.
Yeah. So somewhere along the way, we confused being valuable with being constantly available. Can you relate to that statement?
Well, that for sure, because that's where we all fail in the ability to say no.
Yes, 100%.
Because if we're always available, then we can always add that one more thing. And I think we put, you know, like you were talking about balancing all the plates. I think we put all these things on these plates, and you're juggling them. And then somebody says, wait, you've already juggling 10. Can you juggle 11 plates? Absolutely. Sure. But the problem becomes that, not that if you took one plate out, would you still be able to juggle it, is if that one plate came out, are all the plates going to fall?
Right.
That's, I think, what
that's
we
the
put on
deep
ourselves.
fear.
Yeah.
That is that mental load. Yeah, you're so right. That's a very good observation. Well, and I think one thing that...
We are experts in this topic.
We are!
There's any topic we can handle well, I think this is going to be it.
For sure. Not that we can do all of these things. We're going to suggest that you do. These are things that we're researching, that it's like, we should be doing these things. We know we should be doing these things.
Exactly.
But you get caught up, and it's like somebody hands you a toolbox.
Yeah.
And you put it in the back of your car and you forget it's there.
Right.
Right? So you know, but you really forgot where that toolbox is, and so then you just keep suffering through whatever you're going through.
It's just like when you find like a unhealthy doctor or an unhealthy like coach, like a physical trainer. You know, and they know all the things that they should be doing, but they're not doing the things they should be doing, because there's probably something else going on. There's probably something else taking up that capacity that they should have. But it's that, and I think that, you know, people can very easily find us on the street and point that same finger and say, you say rest, and you say you need to take time, and you need to make yourself a priority, but you're not doing it. And I see it in you every single day.
That's right. And it's true. And we, you know, we say we're not experts in this.
No.
The cure for this, we're the victims of this.
Exactly.
Needing to give ourselves permission to rest.
Yeah.
And one thing my sister-in-law, who's a counselor, said to me once was, what if you just knew that you had value because you are? Your existence is your value. And so I think I hold that in my mind on the times when I'm thinking I need to rest and reset.
Right.
And it needs to be okay.
Yeah.
So, and I would like to say I have improved over the years, because I used to, Kevin would come home, I would constantly make sure I was up and doing things no matter what. I wouldn't let myself rest. And now I'm like, if I feel like I need rest, I will take a few minutes in the daytime and rest. And when he pulls in, I don't jump up and feel like, oh, I can't be sitting down. Because I'm like, no, I can.
Yeah.
It's just I don't do it enough, right?
Do you ever find yourself always giving an explanation for your rest, though?
Yes.
Because I do that. I'll give myself, I'm on a very not consistent schedule right now. So there's usually about one day in the week where I kind of have to break down and I do nothing that day except slug on the couch for a while and then eventually get ready and I go to work. And I find myself always saying, well, today I didn't do anything because I needed to just have one day where I just didn't do something because I have this and this and this and this going on this week. And I always have to make sure I audibly say that. Like, I didn't do anything because of this. Not just that I just rested because I rested. You know?
I just did that the other day. I was like, I have to rest. You go to Costco, you go do the things. I'm just going to stay home and just veg on the couch because I'm going to be watching the baby this week. So I have to prepare for,
right.
You know. Yeah,
always
so you're
an
right.
explanation.
Always have to have an explanation. So that's something to really be aware of so that we can stop doing that.
Right.
Because we don't need to explain ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, so profound. See why we do these things? I don't know.
Eventually, we'll help ourselves.
We will.
In this
Eventually
process.
we will. We'll come back and we'll be like, hey, we've been doing this every day. Well, and that's the thing. I think that anything that we talk about that we share with you, we're not about perfection. It's about, hey, here's some tools, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna share some tools, and if you want to utilize them occasionally, or if one little thought is like, oh wow, well I've been doing that.
Yeah.
As well, making those giving explanations for those things, and I might stop doing that. And I'm sure we do that because we're afraid of disappointing people. We're afraid of resting because we're afraid of disappointing someone.
Right.
I was always like, oh, if Kevin sees me resting, he's going to think I am lazy.
Well, and that goes into like the judgment. We think people are going to judge us and say, oh, well, you know, she didn't do anything today, or she, you know, didn't get XYZ done today, or usually she's so much busier, or she didn't show up to that meeting or this thing, but behind the scenes is doing 100 other things for whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. So we're always trying to avoid judgment or conflict. And we say yes when we mean no.
That's a big one. And I think that's a big one for all of us because, and also, and I'm going to tie this into a little bit of parenting. Sometimes with parenting, you say no when you mean yes, but also with life, you do the opposite. Yeah. And I'm going to say that because I applied the same technique for both. And I'm not saying I'm doing that regularly, but I do try to do this. But with my kids when they were younger, Mom, can we go to the park today? No. Because in that moment, all I can think is I can't factor the park into whatever else we were doing in the day. And then I'll come back maybe a little while later and go, actually, the park kind of sounded like a really good idea, and I can get their energy out and I can go run them and we can play and have this break in the day that they need and that I need. And then I would come back and say yes, which then taught my kids, well, if you keep asking, eventually Mom's going to say yes. You just have to keep asking. And so that was a hard lesson to learn the whole time of raising them was I have to pause when they ask me a question and I have to think about it. And I can say like, Mom needs a minute. Let me think about that. I'll come back to you. And then when I've had time to process it, like, hey, they are actually being really good today. They probably do deserve a trip to the park. Then I can come back and healthily say, yes, you've earned going to the park. Let's go play. And so now as an adult, busy, really kind of the things that are decisions that affect me and maybe not other people, when people ask me for something, I'm always quick to say, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I can add that plate to my balancing act that I'm doing. And then I look back and I go, oh, why did I volunteer to do that? Or why did I say yes to that? Or I really didn't want to go out Friday night because I have this other thing I was going to be doing, whatever it is. And so I have to apply to my life. Let me think about that and see if that's something I can do. Or with, people asking us questions about our board, can music in the park do this? Can we do this? We want to immediately say, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. What a great idea. But in real life, we really need to go back and discuss it as a board and find out what's all the ramifications. Let's think this whole thing through. Can this happen? Can it work? And then come back with a more thought out response. But I think we can apply that to anything in life. That you just,
Yeah.
when there's a yes or no question ahead of you, you got to
Pause.
give me a minute. Let me think about that.
Give yourself a minute. Give your kids a minute. Give your grandkids a minute. Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. And the other thing that I was thinking about as you were saying that, because I know you're a bit of a workaholic, and I was thinking to myself, she probably really needed a break. And probably when she did take the kids to the park, it was a big deal for you as well,
Right.
and probably a stress reliever, and it feels good because I've done that a time or two. Oh, if I go outside and pet the horses, and I'm like, wow, I just feel so good, like just so good.
For sure.
Why is it so hard for me to just go out every day for 5-10 minutes and pet the horses? Because my self, my ego that needs to feel valuable feels like I can only have that value if I get XYZ done. How can I get XYZ done if I'm out petting the horse? But in all reality, if I go out and pet that horse for a few minutes, if I go to the park for a few minutes, you come back and you're more productive.
Right.
Yeah. So, this fits us to a T too. We don't rest because we're tired. We rest because we finally break that moment when you just have no other choice. That was my Saturday. I had no other choice. I had grandkids that wanted to come over and play in the sandbox. And I'm like, I have to go home and shower and nap. So nobody come over for an hour. And nobody came over all night. And it was like, wow, that was great. And then, they all came back Sunday. So it was all good. But yeah, it was good I think I took a 2-hour nap. And I don't nap like that normally. And so it was definitely, my body was feeling that.
For me, it's like the break is like I literally will break somehow. So, I'll like when I was in school, I think that is always a really good example because everyone would start getting colds and midterms were coming and all this. And I just refused to get sick. And so instead, I wouldn't get sick during midterms and I wouldn't get sick during finals. I would get sick as soon as we had like
Spring
Martin
break
Luther
or
King
something.
weekend, spring break, summer, Christmas break. And then I was not only getting like a break from school, but now I'm down for the count and I'm out with a cold because I would fight it all through the semester. And I do the same thing in life now. I will do and do and do and do, and then I will throw my back out and I deal with that or get sick at the most inopportune times or whatever it is. But yeah, I think we will just run ourselves until our body forces us to take a break instead of allowing the break more often.
And then not having to have that forced
Yeah.
physical break. Well, and I always tend to think that that's God also, God's hand. Like, well, now your back's going to be out for a few days, so you can actually lay down and rest because you're not listening to me as I'm throwing the pebbles.
Throwing those pebbles.
Throwing the rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've talked about that in other episodes too. That was
Yeah.
a good analogy of
Yep.
of that. So why do we not rest? Why does it feel so hard to us? And I think the big thing is the guilt. Because
Absolutely.
you feel like I've got this list. Well, that's what always gets me too. I have this list.
Yeah.
All these things I have to get done. But so this just happened to me, probably a month ago. I got really sick and I was like, was I sick or was it my back? No, I threw my back out. And it was like almost 4 or 5 days. I think it was 4 days that I was completely.
Yeah.
And I chose to just be completely down because I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to God because I don't know all the time, so I'm going to listen. And I put everything aside. I pretended like that list didn't happen. I felt more relaxed. I felt fabulous. And then when I got back to it, I was like, wow, there wasn't one thing on my list that had a due date
Yeah.
that I dropped. The due date was all in my mind.
Right.
The pressure was all in my mind. That pressure was all built on myself. That guilt of I should be doing.
Right. I think
things.
I'm a big list maker also. And I don't necessarily know that this is a bad thing. So maybe this can actually be helpful. But I really enjoy a list because I like to see the things get checked off so I can feel accomplished. And sometimes when I am doing that, I'll go, if I can get this, and this done, then I can take a break and, not do anything for the next couple hours or the next evening or the next weekend or whatever it would work out with the list. And so I do think that there is some negative in that, in the fact that we feel like we have to reward ourselves in order to reward ourselves with a break instead of feeling like we can just have the break wherever in that list. But at the same time, if that helps you rest, because you can turn your brain off, because you can say, I did the important things, or I did the thing that had to be done today. But with your list, you had you had nothing, no date that it had to be done. Mm-hmm. So the rest could happen at any point. But maybe if your list required one thing to be done for sure that day, then you do the one thing, and then your brain can shut off in order to then have the rest. And then the other thing I think we do is we compare ourselves to other people, and we say, well, this person is always so much busier than me, so obviously it could take on more, but we don't know that they are meditating for 20 minutes every morning, or that they do yoga every day, or some other way that they're finding a rest each day. Right. And, maybe going to those people and saying, how do you do it all? Well, I do it all because I, spend 20 minutes in the Bible every morning, and it gives me my energy that I need. Or I switched from coffee to tea, and it really helps me. Whatever their secret might be, but finding out, instead of comparing yourself to somebody else, saying, how do you do it all? And finding that maybe they do it all because they do take breaks and they do give themselves rest.
Yeah. Or maybe they just look on the outside like they're doing it all gracefully, and in the inside they're like a volcano ready to erupt. Because I feel like people probably look at us from the outside through an event, let's say Music in the Park, right? And they look at it like, wow, those girls are just hard workers, and they're busy, and they're just doing life, man. Look at them handling that so good. And the inside, we're like, oh my gosh, I just need a day off. I just need
show up a couple of hours early to Music in the Park. I dare you. You'll see us fall apart right before it all happens.
And it's usually like the fall apart, or the discussion about falling apart, and then we're like, okay, now let's just sit here.
We got it all out. Now it's time to focus,
rest,
and then we
get on it.
And then it's over, and we go home, and
it's the crash out.
And we have a week until we start it all over again.
Yeah. And at the end of the summer, it's the other
big rest at the end of summer. And we have gotten better about allowing ourselves a big rest at the end of summer, and not necessarily jumping right back into something else. So I think we're getting better on that.
We are.
I think the other mindset we all need to change is that resting means that you're lazy, because that's not the truth. If you were only resting, then that's a different thing. If you don't find some sort of way to be productive or contribute or, get something done, I can understand feeling lazy from it. But sometimes lazy is okay, and we have to let ourselves have that. But we also need to just change that belief that resting, giving yourself time, self-care, all those things that we do to rest, because sometimes rest looks like a nap, and sometimes it looks like a self-care shower. Sometimes it looks like, I don't know, I find it really relaxing to get the grocery shopping done. I really like grocery shopping. And so that's my outlet sometimes, is just walk away from the house and gallivant slowly through the stores to decide what things we want to try this week. And I like that process, but just taking that mentality away.
Yeah, I go singing and down the grocery aisles. A lot of times they have really good music.
Because we're at that age now where they're playing our music on the...
And I'm dancing down the aisle.
Yeah.
It was more so when I had kids. And, when you get to go to the grocery store without your kids, that's a joyful day. You love your kids. But, those brief moments that you get alone are fabulous. So, I would be singing and dancing down the aisle. I didn't care who's looking, because I'm just enjoying this moment. That's another thing, is to be present with the moment and be okay with whatever's happening. Yeah. So, and also not tying your busyness to worth. Like I said in the beginning with the, Kimmy, my sister-in-law, saying your value, your worth is just because you are. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to do things to have value. You don't have to stay busy to have value.
Right. Well, and also I think that when it comes to busyness and worth, one thing to remember is that the more we put on our plate, the less we can give to each thing. Yes. I always find myself, at least at some point, when I'm hitting my breaking point, where I'll say to somebody, usually Tammy, I'll say, I feel like I'm giving 10% to 10 things instead of giving 100% to any one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough for this or that because I'm trying to give to so many places. I have to take something off of my plate so that I can be more for the things that really matter.
Yeah.
And so taking that assessment on yourself once in a while, am I giving 100% to a few things, or am I giving 10% to many, many things and really not making a difference in that way because you're not really giving a lot anyway.
Right. No, that's a very good point. What was that? You can't ride two horses with just one butt.
Sure.
So it's kind of like that. Like there's not a good balance.
No.
You can't balance even on just two horses.
Sure.
But, if you had four you were trying to ride, which is kind of we're up there.
Mm-hmm.
But so the cost of not resting is irritability and burnout. And I get that, like when I have the grandkids over. Again, I'm going to stress how much I love them and I enjoy playing with them and all the things. But as I get towards the end of the day, I'm getting tired and I feel myself feeling short.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever be that way.
I mean, that's true for parents
All
of those
parents,
same
yes.
age of kids. I think by the end of the day, you're just like, go to your room, read a book.
Yeah.
Do something quietly. I don't know. I don't care what it is.
Can we color now? So that's really, I had my Oakland for 7 hours straight, and it was so fun. We played like 4 or 5 games. We went outside. We did all these things. Mm-hmm. And then finally when we came in, I think it was right before dinner, and I was like, hey, what about coloring? And she's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So then that's like, okay, I can just shut my brain off and, just enjoy the coloring. So that's fun too. But some things, and I've had this happen to me, you can lose the joy of things that you love to do.
Yep.
Like, and I feel like that is, if you're so exhausted that you're just like dragging yourself to do something, kind of like towards the end of Music in the Park. Dragging ourselves.
Right.
And we have people telling us, oh, we wish you would do
a couple more weeks.
Stretch
it out a little longer.
Oh my gosh, we can't. You know what? If you want to do that, you go ahead, be our guest.
Right.
Like how Pocatello does with their chamber. They give their Chamber of Commerce the last, an extra week. Because they'll only do, whatever, how many weeks. So like if we do 11 weeks, so that would be like us giving our 12th week. Hey, chamber, go ahead.
And we started with like one a month. So now that we're up to 11 weeks, it's a lot. And it's great. And we're happy that people love it and enjoy it and want more. But ideally, for it to function at its best, we have to keep it where it's at. Shorter. And that's good that we recognize that. But that also plays into everything that we're doing in our life. So, find your balance, whatever that looks like. Like if you realize that weeks and weeks and weeks have gone by and you haven't had a date night, we have to schedule. These are all things we've talked about in previous podcasts, and so but it all ties together with this one for sure. But make sure you plan those date nights. Make sure you're planning a self-care day for yourself, whether it's going and getting a pedicure, getting your nails done, having your everything shower, whatever that looks like to you. But don't get yourself to a point where you're so exhausted that you are not giving your everything to everything. You're not losing joy in the things that you enjoy the most. I find myself doing that a lot, where I'll come to my husband and it's been a long time. I'm like, I don't care what we do. It's time for a date night. We have to go somewhere and do something. I don't care what it is, because I just need time outside of the house where we're just hanging out together. And I just need that.
Well, that's me too. I have a quality time is my love language. And so I just had that. I was like, hey, we need to have a Friday night date night. And he goes, where do you want to go? I just want to stay home. I just want to stay home, but actually eye to eye contact, like spend time together, hold hands, whatever, just be together. And then it didn't happen, but because there's just constant.
But it's on the radar. It'll happen soon.
It'll happen soon. But if and I love that you're saying like, we have to take care of ourselves and give ourselves all those restful things so that we're not physically exhausted.
Right.
Because if you go on a date, and you're just doing it because you need it, but you're so tired because you've worn yourself out.
You can't enjoy it either.
You can't show up. Yeah, you can't show up. So, and we've talked about this too. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Nope.
But somehow
we try to like milk something out of it instead of realizing that, we need to fill it back up with rest, relaxation, energy, all the things that we need for ourselves in order to give. Moms are obviously the worst at that. We give and give and give, and we forget that we need to give for ourselves once in a while, or else we don't have anything to give out anymore.
Yeah.
But we gotta take that time, everyone.
Yep. For sure. Mm-hmm. Everybody, you need it. You need it, whether, no matter what it is. Even if it's dancing. We were just talking about this morning. Kevin had on some really good music, and I was like, I love to dance. That's when I feel free. That's when I feel like my brain shuts off. Dance it out. And I'm like, so dance it out. 5 minutes. So rest is not quitting. It's refueling so that you can have the best part of yourself available for whoever you're with. Right. It makes you a better mom, grandma, partner, and just a better human to everyone around you.
Right. And remember, everyone rests. Everything rests. Our pets rest. Our husbands rest. Our kids rest. We need to let ourselves rest too.
Yeah. Because rest isn't a reward. It's a requirement. Right. And one way or another, you're going to have it. So my goal has been for this week, after I did my shower thing on Saturday, it felt so good. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do a 20-minute nap, and I'm just going to have a really long shower and enjoy my shower instead of like, I got to hurry up and shower and get out of here because I got 50 million things going on. Or, sit in silence and just listen. There's lots of birds going on around here.
Also remember to tell yourself that this is allowed. You are allowed to take a break. You are allowed to take a rest. You are allowed to take a longer shower. Whatever it is that will fill your cup, remember to keep telling yourself, this is normal. This is allowed. This is welcome in my life.
Right. Because, the name of this title, the title of the episode is Permission to Rest. And you definitely have to give yourself that. So I'm going to recite the last part of that poem, and it's, but some days whisper something true. I need a little time for you. A pause, a breath, a quiet space, a moment life won't try to chase. Just time to rest, to simply be, to not hold up the world for me, to set it down if just for a while, and come back stronger with a smile.
Absolutely.
So give yourself permission to rest and have a great week this week. And stay empowered.